Hello and welcome to a Warframe video. So in this video I wanted to share something that I discovered that I thought was pretty damn cool, and I wanted to share it with anybody who might find it useful or enjoyable. And for the longest time in Warframe I've been a very big fan of shotguns. I love the Tigris, I love the Hack, I love those guns a lot because of the amount of damage that they can deal, well, the fact that they can deal with enemies very quickly. My only problem with both weapons is that eventually not only do you run out of ammunition, you also eventually have to reload. And while the Tigris has a very good fire rate, it also needs to reload after every 1 or 2 shots. And that can be very problematic when you're dealing with adversaries from pretty much everywhere, from an enemy that essentially just keeps coming over and over. So that can be very problematic. That's the Tigris' only flaw, the fact that it needs to reload literally after 2 bullets. However, in this particular video I discovered that there is a weapon that not only has the firepower of Tigris, not only has its fire rate, but also not only has no need for ammunition whatsoever, not only does it push enemies back who come too close to you, completely knocking them out and allowing you to essentially either not take damage or allow you to just finish them off, but yeah, it also has no need to reload whatsoever, and that is, as you no doubt surmised, the Redeemer. So right now I'm using the Redeemer Prime, and I have to say it's become my #1 most favorite melee weapons among the primed weapons. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is Galatine, there is Graham Prime, obviously. They're very good weapons, they have very high damage, definitely, maybe even more higher damage than the Redeemer, but the way this Redeemer works, and the way I have discovered it actually now works, may just make it my most favorite melee weapon in like the whole game right now, because of just how ridiculously powerful it is and how much fun I'm actually having playing it. The only problem with using it, the only minus thing, is that eventually my hands just get a little bit tired from just spamming buttons all over the time. But aside from that, I'm having a blast with this particular build, or shall I say this particular, shall we call it skill or way of using the weapon, because it's not more as the build itself. The build can be anything you want it to be. You can go for the most highest damage, you can go for status, you can go for critical chance, but it's more so how I'm using it, what buttons I'm pressing when I'm actually using it. And this particular thing is defined by one thing, and that is its stance. For this particular weapon, you're going to want bullet dance. Bullet dance is a must to be able to use this method, and it's quite amazing. In fact, it's so amazing, I hope that people keep it hush-hush, because it's definitely something that might be nerfed. It's just too amazing. Now, I've only used it against Infested, but I can imagine it being just as useful against pretty much anything, and I'm absolutely loving this gun. Now, so let's talk builds. So first off, you like I said before, you're gonna want to not have any primary or secondary weapons, just the Redeemer itself, so you can able to block. And you also need to have bullet dance. Now, I don't know about high noon, but bullet dance is definitely a must, because you're actually using a combo, not a particular build. The build can be anything. This is my base build. I have a status build, which is the config A, and a critical build, which is config B. And you can just make a comparison and just use whatever build you want for the appropriate. Obviously, you can try experimenting with different builds and so forth, and see how effective this can be. And then there is the combo, or the method in which how to use the skill, which is essentially you block with the Redeemer and then just tap the circle button to shoot. You can either tap it or hold it, it's really up to you. It's the same thing. And then after a slight short delay after you've shot, simply tap the button, the melee button again, or the circle button again. And again and again and again. Once you get the gist of it, of how to essentially, how long before you need to use it, if you tap it too fast, the weapon will basically, you will do a kind of like a heavy close range melee attack. What you want to do is time it just right so you can actually shoot instead of do the melee thing. Now, I don't know if this combo is broken or anything. I hope not, and I hope people do keep it hush-hush, that way it doesn't get nerfed, because this is actually quite amazing. Not only can you deal with enemies at long range, not only do you deal massive amounts of damage at close range, but also on top of that, you can also literally just spam it over and over again without having to stop, and any enemy who gets too close to you will basically get AoE'd by the field that you create when you shoot, ragdolling them to the ground and knocking them out and allowing you to just finish them off, or what I do most of the time, which is take my distance and then just shoot them on the ground, which is a lot faster, because once you do a finisher, you kind of get stuck. You get stuck in a like finisher animation, which is it kind of it allow enemies to essentially get numbers all on you, which is annoying. But yeah, as long as you use this method, you can just keep on shooting the Redeemer over and over again. It's like literally like having a Tigris that you can just shoot without end, without needing to reload whatsoever, and also without even needing to worry about ammunition. On top of that, if you have a combo build, you can essentially just build up that combo by constantly attacking and not have to worry. You'll just increase your damages. Now, I use this build in order to farm the new resource, Hexon something resource, and I was fighting the infested most of the time. And the way I used it was dealing against close range enemies. Obviously, since the Redeemer is a shotgun, against close enemies who have no support whatsoever, it just absolutely annihilates them. The only problem is the enemies who fly, like the Ospreys, which obviously, since the Redeemer is even though it's a melee, it's also a gun. You can just aim using the right analog stick as you basically adjust the right analog stick as you press the circle button. And you basically get the gist of it in order to deal with enemies who are moving or who are out of your sight or out of your strafe range, or, well, your field of view anyways. And yeah, once you do that, make sure you kill the Ancients in order to destroy any support to the enemy, and that's pretty much it. You essentially are annihilating them, and I found it to be not only useful and enjoyable, but also quite effective. So yeah, this is the build that I wanted to share. It is definitely fun. It is definitely enjoyable, and it is also very, very effective. Like, I was using it to farm the new resources in the survival, and it was actually pretty damn good. Now, the enemies that I was fighting were only like at the very most level 40s, but then again, you don't really need anything. As long as you're able to kill up to level 50s, you only really meet enemies who are above that at like sorties or like the new game mode or something like that, or basically any endless mission and so forth. So most of the enemies you'll be fighting are essentially like below or within the level 50s. So since this gun can do some pretty decent damage, yeah, you have it's not a problem. And yeah, by using this particular combo, I not only had a really good time just bottlenecking enemies and just, well, shooting the literal shit out of them. Not only was I very well protected, despite I'm a Necros, because of the AoE that the gun possessed that allowed to ragdoll enemies at close range, but I also dealt a lot of damages. Now, as long as I was able to deal with the Ancients as quickly as possible, then all the other enemies were essentially just paper being shredded by the Redeemer's power. And yeah, that was the build that I wanted to share. Let me know what you think about it, and if you actually already knew about this. Wow, that's actually surprising because I didn't. Well, congratulations. But yeah, let me know what you think about it. If you find a better mod set or some better mods to use on it while using this, let me know. Hopefully it's kept hush because I don't want it to be nerfed. I discovered it, and after having so much fun with it, I do not want it to be nerfed whatsoever. This is amazing. And yeah, I'd like to thank you for watching. Stay cool, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.